I kind of want to go back with the piggyback on you. You was in a fit model division, in that in your first organization that you
Yeah,
competed in. Like, how was
yeah.
that?
Um, it was very different than it is today. So they
Yeah,
had, I think it was even like 3 rounds, or maybe 2 rounds. It was like a full piece. Don't think I did a bikini back then. I think it was like one full piece and then like an evening gown round. I don't even remember what the posing was like, but it wasn't like the fit model posing is today.
yeah,
And it was more just it was like a model search type thing. So they were looking supposedly for like a toned female beach body, just an overall good look, more to be in like the magazine type of thing. So it's definitely evolved a lot. And again, it wasn't with the IFBB, it was a different federation, but it was a good start. Like it was a great way to kind of get your feet wet and know if competing was for you, because a lot of people want to compete but then they get into it and it's not for them,
yeah,
which is fine, but you don't know until you're in it if it's really for you or not. And then I just kind of had the bug. I always had the bug for it. I used to go attend the Toronto Pro Show way back in the day when it used to be at the Metro Convention Center in Toronto. So we used to go to that, and all the big boys were there, the fitness women, a lot of the women from the magazines. Robert Kennedy would come, who was with Oxygen and Muscle Mag, of course. And the athletes would walk through the crowd, with their tans and their hard toned bodies, and I would just be like, oh, I would love to be that. I would love to look like that and be able to do that and be an athlete. And I think that was a lot of the calling for me too, was just to be recognized as an athlete. For me was something. So yeah, I just kind of went for it.
yeah, yeah. Back in the day, I remember looking at people like athletes, like in magazines and stuff like that. I think that started a little bit like went to your. I think you and your mother went to a gym and then started seeing
Yes.
athletes and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So way back, when I would say like a child, probably like
right.
12 years old,
Yeah.
my mom would take me to the gym with her. Maybe I wasn't even 12 because I probably wasn't old enough to stay at home alone. That's why she was bringing me. Maybe I was 10. And I remember just, I would get bored. So I would wander around the gym, and I ended up downstairs of the gym, and there was the weightlifting room. There was few women back then because we're talking like probably early 80s. So more women were into like Jane Fonda's kind of fitness, and they didn't want big muscles, so it was all more kind of body weight exercises, because women didn't want to get bulky, although we know they're not going to get bulky. um, but yeah, I would look through the window and saw the pictures on the wall and the weights and the guys that were working out, and I was just like, wow, I would love to try that. So
Yeah, I kind of discovered that like in the '90s. You went in
yeah.
the '80s. Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
that far. You're not that far older than me. I'm 49. So,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you ever passed like you ever like earlier you said that you was competing with the younger girls. Was there like a point where somebody thought that you was younger than your age?
um well, I actually, so when I started, like in order to get my pro card here, I
Yeah.
would have to compete against the 35-year-olds, which I think the youngest I competed, well, I was probably 40. I think I did the 45 and over when I started, but I was around that age. So I've always liked to stay in my lane. And I know there's some women my age that do compete in the 45 and over in the States, and even the 40 and over. But I prefer to stay in my lane. This year, I turned 55 in May, so
What?
I want. Yeah,
55.
I know. I know. It's just a number. Um, so I'll be competing in the 55 and over, and I would like to do the 50 and over as well, but I just got my pro card, like I got the membership, so I'm able to go into the shows and see the cost now of registration, and it's
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
high. And in American dollars, obviously, it's double for me, pretty much.
yeah.
So I'll see about like two categories will cost me, oh my gosh, somewhere between like $500 to $700. So one category is about 200 American. So I may just end up doing the one. I'm not sure, but the youngest I would compete against right now is 50 and over, I think.
Wow, that's
That's
impressive.
kind of,
Like I didn't really think that you was 55. I'm like, wow, you.
well,
I mean,
54, not yet, couple months.
I mean, I do see it a little, not as much,
Yeah,
like some
yeah,
pictures, but it's like I
yeah,
wouldn't think that you was that age. Wow. They talk about
yeah.
black don't crack. Wow. Okay. Oh, it's
Well, my skin is definitely showing it,
yeah,
and I don't do the Botox and the filler and all that stuff,
yeah.
so
That's
it's
good.
all out there. But
That's
yeah,
that's good. Like with fitness, like you do like photos and all that stuff, photo shoots. Like
yeah.
did you always have confidence to do that?
No. So
Oh,
that's actually a really good question because back in the day, in the it would be the early 90s,
yeah.
because I grew up in Toronto. So Muscle Mag magazine, their headquarters was by Toronto Airport, which
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
wasn't too far. Like it was easy enough to get to. So they would have athletes come all the time, like jiglr and Trish Stratus and athletes like that would come and do signings. So it would draw people into the store because they actually had a brick and mortar store there with clothing and some supplements and like things that you would like wrist straps and belts and things like that. So Robert Kennedy would have these athletes come in from all over, usually from the States and Canada, and they would do autograph signings. So I went to one of them, and one of the guys that was attached with Robert Kennedy approached me and gave me Robert's card and said, "Would you be interested in doing a test shoot with Robert?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." Like I had just started training back then. So I
Mm,
was probably about 25 and I didn't have my implants yet and I didn't know much about working out. Like I was pretty new, but it was like, oh my God, I look at these women and I want to be them. I want to be in a magazine. So I took the card and I'm like, yes, of course. And he was like, well, do you think a couple weeks would be good for you to, get in shape for a shoot? And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, I know nothing. And my one of my big regrets, I never called because I was too insecure.
mm,
I talked myself out of it. I got home and I had the card and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to diet properly." There was no coaches to reach out to like there is today. I was
yeah.
alone, so it was like I just weeks went by and I never called. So I feel I feel now that it's kind of my do-over. So that's why I'm full throttle now because I feel like that opportunity that was missed so many years ago, I'm getting a chance to kind of make up for it now. So I made it into a magazine last year and I got my pro card and I'm like, who it's not many people that get that second chance.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps right now because
Yeah.
I'm like I'm getting that chance. I'm so grateful. I'm so lucky that I'm going to do whatever I can to just keep it going and enjoy every minute of it and take it for its full advantage. Like whatever I can get now, I'm open to.
Yeah.
So